Alright guys, what's up? This is the review video for the World War II test, the Unit 6 test. So we're going to try to go through this quick. There's a lot of questions on here. Number 1, Prime Minister of Great Britain who encouraged the resistance of Nazi domination. That is going to be Winston Churchill. Be careful. I've seen some students put Neville Chamberlain because Neville Chamberlain was the Prime Minister when World War II started. However, that is not the case. He did not resist Nazi domination. Churchill did. Number 2, the Supreme Commander of Allied Forces in Europe and the general that was behind D-Day. That's Eisenhower. Number 3, Dictator of Communist Soviet Union, Stalin. Number 4, famously declared that the bombing of Pearl Harbor would be a day that lived in infamy. That U.S. President is FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Made the decision to drop the atomic bomb on Japan. That is a different U.S. President, Harry S. Truman. The dictator of Nazi Germany. If you get this question wrong in the test, oh my goodness, I'm gonna feel like the worst teacher ever. That is Hitler. Number 7, founder of fascism and the dictator of Italy. That is Mussolini. Jailed for refusing to go to a Japanese intern camp. Fred Korematsu. I'm pretty sure that's how you spell his name. Fred Korematsu. Propaganda figure that became a symbol for encouraging women to work in defense plants. Rosie the Riveter. Remember that song that we listened to in class? Rosie the Riveter. That is Rosie the Riveter. Number 10, mastermind behind the island hopping strategy. That is General Douglas MacArthur. Number 11, Japanese American combat unit that earned numerous medals during World War II. 442nd Regiment. Alright, so let's move on to these questions. Which countries were part of the Axis powers? I'm just going to list 3 here. That's all you need to know for the test. Germany, Italy, and Japan. Italy. It's not spelled correctly. Alright. Which countries were part of the Allies? Put US, Britain, France, Soviet Union. I think that's all the ones that you need to know for the test, but you could also throw China in there. Number 14, before 1937, which dictators in Japan, Germany, and Italy came to power? The United States wanted to remain isolated. You can put neutral. They did not want to get involved in the war at the beginning. Why did Japan choose to attack Pearl Harbor? Short answer, just put U.S. embargo. We talked about this in class significantly. Describe factory production during World War II. We also talked about this a lot. Just put women. Women were important in factories during World War II. That's fine. You could also put many African American. Many African Americans also worked in factories. Oops. Number 17, Mexican migrant farm workers became an important part of the Southwest's agricultural system as a result of which program? That's the Bracero program. The top secret group transmitted vital coded messages during World War II. Navajo code talkers. How did U.S. government justify Executive Order 9066? Military zone. They thought that the West Coast, they're going to make the West Coast a military zone, therefore the Secretary of State could do whatever he wanted to. Number 20, due to an excessive use of fabric, what style of dress was seen as unpatriotic? Zoot suits. What was the German lightning-fast surprise strategy known as? Blitzkrieg. For those that like football, think of the Blitz, surprise attack. I think this is how you spell. What event occurred on December 7th, 1941, Pearl Harbor? What country invaded Manchuria in 1931? That is, oops, not China. No, not China, Japan. Where were the atomic bombs dropped? This is going to be Hiroshima or Hiroshima, however way you want to pronounce it, and Nagasaki. I think that's right. Number 25, what combination led to the German defeat in the Battle of Stalingrad? You can just put weather. It was cold. He did not learn from Napoleon. And scorched earth policy. That should be good. There's other reasons too, but I think those are the ones that you really have to know. Number 26, why did President Truman agree to use the atomic bomb? He wanted to save American lives. Oops. And he wanted to do this. Oops. He wanted to do this. He thought that this would be faster for the war. So save American lives, quicker end to the war. Man, there we go. Number 27, next page. Which of the following events turned the tide of the war in the Pacific against Japan and allowed the Allies to begin taking the offensive? That's the Battle of Midway. What was the code name for D-Day? Operation Overlord. What was the goal of D-Day? Passageway into Europe. I know I'm going through this quick. They wanted to get a passageway into Europe in order to get to Germany. Number 30, African-American pilots who fought during World War II and were awarded with numerous medals. So these are African-American pilots. That is going to be the Tuskegee Airmen. What speech proposed the Lend-Lease Act for freedom speech? Which is from FDR. Oops, man, my spelling. What was the purpose of the Lend-Lease Act? For this one, you could put support the Allies with supplies. Now, remember, they were not in the war yet, but this is America supporting the Allies with supplies. What were the two goals of the Double V campaign? So, goal number 1, defeat Hitler's racism abroad, or you can just put even racism abroad in the whole world, and defeat America's racism. I almost put America's racism or defeat America's racism against African Americans. So this, remember the Double V campaign. This is an African American campaign during World War II. Two goals were to defeat racism in the world, or defeat particularly Hitler's racism, and then defeat America's racism. Now, there's a question on the test that says just Hitler. Now, that's not the goal of this necessarily. They want to defeat Hitler, but it's particular to racism. Number 34, what was the goal of the island hopping campaign? To attack lightly defended islands in order to get to mainland Japan. And their goal is to get to Japan so they can do a mainland invasion similar to Normandy, like D-Day. But they will not do that because they will drop the atomic bombs. Number 35, what was the purpose of the United Nations? Peace, prevent another war. So they wanted to prevent another war by way of peace, if another war could perhaps be started. Number 36, the U.S. Congress passed a series of neutrality acts beginning in August 1935 in response to this question. I think is not on the test. I think I took it out because we didn't talk about it a lot. But for this one, just put America's anti-war sentiments. We'll see. I don't know. I think I took it off. I'm not sure. But if I did not take it off, that's going to be the answer. A lot of students put like the invasion of Poland, but that did not happen until 1939, not 1935. The purpose of the Manhattan Project was to build atomic bomb. Let's put atomic bomb. Number 38, who promised to come back for the Bataan prisoners? That's General MacArthur, Douglas MacArthur. Where am I at? 39. What did the United States do after Japan surrendered at the end of World War II? They're going to help Japan. Just put rebuild, particularly with the Constitution. Why were some people critical of FDR's decision to run for a third and fourth terms? They thought he was somewhat like a dictator because he was in there for so long. He didn't want to give up power. give up power. There we go. Who made up the 442nd Regimental Combat Team? Japanese Americans. Number 43, May of 1945, Germany gave its unconditional surrender. This was known as VE Day. Surrendered Allied troops were forced by the Japanese to march 65 miles to the prison camp. Thousands died along the way. This is called the Bataan Death March. In response to the attack on Pearl Harbor, what bombing raid was organized? That's called the Doolittle Raid. Doolittle Raid. What was the turning point in the Pacific that stopped the Japanese advance? I think there's another question earlier about this. This is Battle of Midway. 47. What is the day referred to as when Japanese surrendered, which officially ended World War II? That is VJ Day. VJ Day. Roosevelt, Stalin, and Churchill met to agree to break up control of Germany after the war. That's going to be the Yalta Conference. Yalta Conference. Number 49. African Americans migrate to northern industrial cities during World War II for jobs. This is the second Great Migration. Number 50. What was the series of altercations that occurred in LA during World War II between military men and Mexican American youth? These were called the Zoot Suit Riots. Zoot Suit Riots. Number 51. Government order for the removal of resident enemy aliens. This was Executive Order number 9066. You got to get the number right too. 52. Put in the correct order. So there's 4 events here. What is the correct order? Okay, well, let's see. We are going to have isolationism and neutrality before any of that. And then after that, well, looking at these, joining the Allies, that's going to be last before these. So I'll put that in here because I already know that's last. Now, cash and carry, that's going to happen before the Lend-Lease Act. If you remember the Neutrality Acts, America is going to let Allied countries come to America, pay for cash for the supplies, and then carry these supplies off by themselves. So America is not going to be involved with carrying the supplies. Only the person that is, or I shouldn't say the person, the country that is buying these supplies. So Lend-Lease Act will be in between cash and carry, and then officially America will join the Allies. So isolationism or neutrality, cash and carry, Lend-Lease Act, and then America's going to join the Allies. Next one, let's see here. So invasion of Poland, Battle of the Bulge, VE Day, Stalingrad, and then D-Day. Well, World War II has to start, and it's going to officially start with the invasion of Poland. So that's going to be first. And then after the invasion of Poland, we're going to see Stalingrad. That's in 1941. So that's going to happen after the invasion of Poland, which was in 1939. And then the next one is going to be D-Day. That's in June of 1944. Then after D-Day, we're going to see the last major battle in World War II. That's the Battle of the Bulge. And then, of course, World War II has to end in Europe. Not altogether, and that's going to be VE Day, Victory in Europe Day. Next one, we have Guadalcanal, VJ Day, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and then the attack on Pearl Harbor, and then Battle of Midway. Well, America's going to get involved after the attack on Pearl Harbor, at least militarily. And then after the attack on Pearl Harbor, we are going to see the Battle of Midway. That is the turning point in the war in the Pacific for the Americans. And then after the Battle of Midway, we're going to see the first island that's going to be hopped, if you want to call it that, which is Guadalcanal. Huge victory for America. And then after Guadalcanal, what do we have left here? Okay, so we're going to have Hiroshima and Nagasaki, August 6, 1945, August 9th, 1945, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and then officially the surrender, VJ Day. America celebrates the end of the war altogether with VJ Day. And then number 55, the last one, which famous scientist signed a letter and sent it to FDR, informing him about the atomic bomb. Of course, that is Einstein. Remember, he did not invent the atomic bomb. He's just going to notify FDR about it. All right, so that is the study guide. Feel free, let me know if you have any questions. Either text me or email me, and I will get to you as soon as I can. All right, see you guys later.